like a Doberman or something was after me. Like,
Brazy. Yeah. Looks like they back for a 5th season, man. Who that? Sports Roundtable. Who? SRT Crew. Whoa. SRT. They got that realness flowing in they DNA. Damn you lame if you ain't tuned to SRT today. HO got that payload when he say so. What you betting on? Don't get mad at me on fantasy. Break up Kyrie LeBron. I be smooth as sports superhero Hancock in the mix. Deal with roll tide forever. Real talk, you know who he gon' pick. See where I be with SRT. Behind the glass, that G-Money. When it's strong, I never lose. 6-man elite, that's J Smooth.
All you other sports radio shows is fake news. Believe it. Turn up your radios, cause it's time for SRT Radio. Yeah.
What up? It's Sports Roundtable, and we are live from the virtual studios overlooking the digital world. I am your humble host, HO from Bankhead, and Bankhead got some pretty tough news this week as Bankhead Seafood is temporarily closed down for an undetermined amount of time to fix whatever, I don't know, but for all y'all who's trying to get over there to get some of that Bankhead fish, you can't go right now. It's temporarily closed down until further notice. Yep. Me and somebody was talking about this weekend, and I said maybe they need to reevaluate them prices. Yeah. Coach, Asa, y'all been over there since it's been reopened?
Nah. Nope. And them prices that high?
But everybody high nowadays. I don't know what going on is, but
man, they got valet parking and the fish sandwich, $16.
Yeah. I drive down to Savannah and catch my own fish.
Yeah. Okay. Well, once again, I'm HO from Bankhead. To my right is my main man. You can catch him on Mondays from 7 to 9 o'clock. From DNA Sport, Mr. Asa Brown. What's going on, bro?
I'm good. How you doing, HO? How you doing, Coach? Everybody good?
Yeah, everything good, man. And down at the bottom, of course, keeping everybody up to par, making sure everybody is behaving. I'm gonna start calling you Coach, the coach with the shank. Coach is in the building for Red and Red Sports Show on Saturday morning, 11 to whenever they get tired.
See, when you get tired of trying to explain yourself, the shank explains everything. It shuts all that conversation down. You can end all the conversation with that, so that makes everything even. And people talking. I got a feeling around 7:45 or somewhere within that time, when a certain person coming on, I'm about to get it ready because I know he got something smart to say.
Yeah, this may very well be possibly could be the most unanticipated Braves report in the history of Sports Roundtable. I don't know if Bob can talk any one of us into the Braves playing better, or the Braves doing better, or the Braves is actually making the playoffs. I would usually give Bob an opportunity to talk Hancock back onto the Braves bandwagon, but I think I'm in the car with Hancock this year. Yeah, they are not doing well at all. And Ron Acuna is hurt again, which opens me up to this question: can we consider Ronald Acuna injury prone at this point in his career?
Or is he really hurt? Is he just, if they just got him listed at hurt, so you can't put him on the trading block, so teams don't ask for him? Because at this point, to me, everybody in the lineup is due should have their suitcases out to get moved somewhere.
I agree. I super agree with that.
So
Coach,
like I said,
Coach, is he injury prone in your opinion?
Lately, his aggressive style of play may have caught up with him.
They say he tweaked his back with lifting weights. With the latest injury, is he tweaked his
he
back
ain't hurt.
lifting weight?
He ain't hurt. He just don't want. He that's not on the trading block. He's not hurt.
Okay, well,
he'll be back.
Bob will be on.
He'll be back a week after All-Star break.
So they say that he may not participate in the home run derby, but he could possibly play in the game.
Can't be tossing up them PSBs. He gonna hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that before.
All right, I want to welcome everybody to the Sports Roundtable. If your first time joining, make sure you click like, subscribe on YouTube, and if you're on Facebook, please click like and subscribe as well. Make sure you click on the bell to let you know when we are going live. We go live each and every week, 7 to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you tune in and join in and give your boys a holler, because we here each and every Wednesday trying to do our thing. So with that being said, let's go ahead and welcome everybody from, it looked like everybody's on the YouTube channel tonight. Yeah, everybody on YouTube right now. But with that being said, we'll go jump into some hot news. And the hot news sponsored by our good old friend Big Easy Grill, Atlanta, Georgia. Big Easy Grill, the best place to get some Louisiana seafood, the best shrimp in town. You take 2 bites, get rid of 1. Got the catfish bite, the crab claws, the shrimp po' boy, and as Coach say, the beignets. And
right.
Go on over to Big Easy Grill and make sure you mention SRT or Sports Roundtable. Go ahead and get you a 10% discount in a meal, $25 or more. All right, Coach, you said before July. We halfway there almost, so let's get to it. We going pretty soon, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. All right, with that being said, we jumping into some hot news. Let me pull up my notes for this week, and let's see what we got. NBA free agents has started. Yep, the free agent bell has started. Dame Lillard and 2 other guys has Chris Paul and somebody else has not signed. Are we surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, obviously with Damian Lillard being hurt now, I think, and he already got his payday that they're gonna be paying him. Bobby Bonilla 2.0. I think now he just need to be resting and getting healthy and worry about where he may want to go after he's cleared to come back. So after All-Star break, probably. And then Chris Paul, where was he at last year? Was he in San Antonio?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they got DeAndre Fox now. I don't know where he could go. I mean, he at that point 20 years in the game, right? We talk about LeBron 23 or whatever, but you got Chris Paul at about 20 years, right?
Yep.
Chris at 20.
Yeah.
Al Horford at 20. I mean, the teams out there now with young players, they're already probably a year or 2 into the league now. So I mean, his value would have been to maybe mentor a young point guard, but those guys now are a full year, 2 years into the league now. So I don't know what his value is anymore. Maybe as a backup, I guess.
So I'm looking at this list, and it said DeMar DeRozan is a free agent. He's still available, and Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, Al Horford, Russell Westbrook, Markelle Fultz, Malik Beasley, Gary Trent, Cam Thomas, Jonathan Kuminga, and Josh Giddey.
Did you say Markelle Fultz? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thought he was in Europe somewhere.
Yeah, Mr. Fultz is he's still out there. All right, so what has the free agent period done for you guys, and what have you liked about the free agent signings thus far?
Well,
Let you go, coach, on that one.
Yeah, a lot of people who have picked up some good players on that open market and added on some depth. Like I said, Denver needed depth, and they got some depth, adding on some of their players. A couple more players needed that depth to be able to help the team out. So hey, there they go. They got some needed bodies out there, and I don't know. Like I said, you still got a bunch of folks that's left on the team, but it doesn't matter of left out there. I mean, so it doesn't matter who's gonna pick them up, because I think some of them are gonna be picked up before the season starts. Maybe all of them. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But
Look
Chris
like
Paul
he got Spencer Dinwiddie on there too. Spencer Dinwiddie is on there too.
He's picked up by somebody.
Oh, he did get picked up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he got picked up by the Pelicans, somebody. Oh,
Landry Shamet.
Nobody on Landry. I ain't gonna say all of them gonna get picked up. Let me take that back with some of those names. Now, Spencer Dinwiddie got picked up by the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, going down there in the Charlotte world. Okay.
They play with that boy. What's that boy name? Knuckle.
Yeah, Knipple.
The nipples.
All right, Coach. We had an NFL trade that happened last week that you didn't like, I don't think. Talk to us about we talked about that last week, then.
Yep.
Well, give you a week to let it process. So how you feel about it this week?
It's gonna have to work because you can't change it. Can't take it back like the folks say, so you gotta make it work. And they just missing one little key thing. Steelers go ahead. I know it's probably already in the works. They got to figure out the number right. And I've seen several sites that say this is the team that will be good with TJ Watt. I said, y'all got to be crazy to think the Steelers gonna trade TJ Watt. If they do, I'll come on this show and make a public apology and say I was wrong. But they ain't trading TJ Watt. I'm sorry. They will be out of their mind to give him to somebody where he can help the team.
How close are they to a deal then?
Numbers. It doesn't matter of figuring out the right number. They're right around the corner. It's just July, so it just matter of getting that number right that he wants. I think they're looking at Micah Parsons. They wanted in that Micah Parsons Garrett range, somewhere in there. Yeah, they wanted in that area. I don't know if they wanted to be the highest paid, but they want him to get paid. So we'll see. He wanted to get paid. So he comes in.
All right, Ace, I'm coming to you. With Tyreek Hill or Trey Hendrickson? Will Tyreek Hill or Trey Hendrickson be traded before the season starts?
Probably Tyreek Hill.
Probably Tyreek Hill.
Trey Henderson. I'm with Coach the same way with Pittsburgh. Cincinnati can't trade him. They gotta keep that man.
They got to keep him.
They gotta keep him. I don't.
With Joe Burrow being on the quarterback on Netflix and how he's talking about how they are ready to take flight, then Cincinnati defense cannot function without Trey Hendrickson.
No. Same thing with Pittsburgh with Watt. So I feel like if you ask me who's gonna get traded, it's Tyreek. I think Tyreek gets traded. Henderson and Watt figure out the numbers, and with like Coach, I think both of those guys. What do we got? This is a voluntary OTAs right now, not mandatory.
Yeah.
So they're involuntary OTAs. When does mandatory hit? Mandatory hits what? End of the month, 1st of August?
End of the July, 1st of August, yeah.
All right. So neither one of them gonna show up for that. That's when the pressure gonna kind of kick in. Neither one gonna show up for that. But on top of that, I don't think neither one want to show up for it anyway. Just because of they're veterans, they extra days of rest, they gonna keep themselves in shape, but they don't necessarily want to show up for that anyway. So the closer we get to the what's the first preseason game? The Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
When we get close to that, that's when both sides will start talking. Start really talking about guaranteed money and length of years. So right now it's gonna be stalemate, posturing in the media. But neither organization can afford to lose either one of those defensive ends.
Coach, your thoughts? Tyreek Hill or Trey Hendrickson would be traded?
Neither one. They're not going anywhere. Their team.
You think Miami will hold on to Tyreek too? Okay.
Yes, sir. Their team realize the value and say, hey, we got to get these guys in here if we want to have any kind of chance. It might not be a good chance, but if you want to have any kind of chance, because like you said, if the Bengals trade Henderson, it's pretty much done for them. They have already assigned themselves to saying we don't want to win. Joe Burrow can throw 17 touchdowns in a game, and we can hold out. No, so neither one of them gonna get traded. I think Hill made it through the little scrapes last year with the police and all that other little out the field stuff, and plus Tyreek be willing to listen to anything right now with them 6 children he got. He got to pay bills. So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I see it like I think they can hold on to Tyreek or Hendrickson to see how the season goes, just to see who would need somebody. And I think they would probably be better off just waiting it out, especially for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. If for the Dolphins of midseason they look like trash, they probably gonna be firing the coach and the GM anyway, and so you might as well start your rebuild. If you don't have a good record by midseason. So that's why I say I can see Tyreek getting traded. I just don't see the other two guys getting traded, and they both need to set the market now anyway. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati need to go ahead and reset the market in their favor, because Dallas is going to wind up paying Parsons a boatload of money. So before it gets reset again, I mean, it already got set once Cleveland doing what they did with what's his name, Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
You don't want to get caught again with another re-up when Dallas decides that they're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. So I think it's all about the guaranteed money and the length of time with the contracts with both of them. Cincinnati's going to be a lot harder because they already put their money into three people on the offense. They not put their money into Burrow,
Chase and
Higgins. So a little bit harder for them. But Pittsburgh got all of them. Pittsburgh should be in a decent financial situation. You're only playing 1 year or 1 year at a time to your quarterback. You didn't pay for a running back. You shipped him off to the San Diego or to the Chargers, I should say, LA. You let Pickens go. So you know what I mean? They got the money to pay Watt.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know what I don't know what the holdup is with Pittsburgh.
Coach said the numbers. They don't know if they're gonna get him Myles Garrett numbers or Parsons.
Too late now. They had the chance to sign him before Myles got signed.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of weeks ago and Coach pulled a shank out on me, but I was like, Pittsburgh over here. Look, I said Pittsburgh was over here looking like the Cowboys. That's what I was talking about. You know what I mean? Like, you knew Watt was due. And you knew Watt was due. You knew Cleveland was going to have an issue with Myles, and you let Cleveland reset the market. You just don't, you know what I mean? You just don't do that.
Well, I guess the bigger question is, will
Coach pulling the shank out. Coach, don't pull the shank out on me. You agree with what I'm saying, Coach?
Will TJ Watt start the season with Pittsburgh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Because that ain't your wishful thinking, is it?
Nope.
Okay. Now, would you give him Parson or Myles Garrett number? Which one you think you would do if you were the GM?
Miles Parsons.
Combination of both, huh?
Yes, sir. Got to make him feel wanted. And some folks come out, he's old. He's 30 years old. Okay. We'll see.
Would you how much guaranteed money would you get? Would you fully guarantee everything, or would you give him the guaranteed money of, I guess that's the question. Which guaranteed money would you do for him? Would that be the Garrett or the Parson number? I can't remember which one it is. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I give him 75% guarantee, at least. At least 75% guaranteed money.
$40 million a year, $123 million. For
That's Garrett. That's Garrett. And what was the guarantee? How much was the guaranteed, HO?
Hold on. 123.
Ooh. Over how many years?
4.
They got to do a 5-year deal and be able to give him A 5-year deal.
Sorry, 88.8 million is guaranteed. My
Okay.
apologies. The total contract was 23.5.
So you match him, do it 5 years. You match him and give him 90 million guaranteed.
Well, Coach, is it more pressure to sign him since Myles Garrett is in the same division that Pittsburgh is in?
Is it more what now?
More pressure to sign him since they're in the same division.
You gotta have somebody to put pressure on the other team's quarterback, and he's shown you got to disrupt somebody like a Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson. So yeah, some pressure on the sign. Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's move on to Kirk Cousins in the Netflix. I had to pull this up myself, but I couldn't believe when I heard it. Kirk Cousins has said he felt misled when they drafted Michael Penix. So I had to actually go to the episode so I can hear it myself. And I'm like, oh, so now you want to get on Netflix and release all of your ill feelings about this.
I mean, he already did too much talking. He was the reason why they lost the draft pick anyway. They had to pay a fine because he talked so much at his introduction. They were like, "Oh, Atlanta was tampering prior to the time frame they were supposed to be talking to him." Listen, man, you got 100. We talking about the last two guys we just talked about, even though they're on the defense, have been productive. Watt, top 5 player in his position. Garrett, Miles, top 5 position in his top 5 player in his position. Been productive. Now, you can't blame either one of those guys for how the season turns out because they're not on the offensive side, but they've done their job on the defensive side. And now we have a guy here talking about he feels misled, 100 million guaranteed, and you do not win when it's needed, when it's time to win, game on the line, season on the line, whether it's to get into the playoffs or win a playoff game. This Joker is one of whatever. I don't even think he's won a playoff game, to be honest with you, but if he has, it's probably only been one. Yet he's a quarterback and they pay him according to the market because there's so few and far in between of decent quarterbacks out there for a team. I don't feel sorry for him.
And he had the nerve to say he possibly could have signed back with Minnesota if he knew this was going to happen.
Minnesota would have offered him that money if they wanted to keep him.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So,
all right, Coach, go ahead and jump in while you're eating your Cruncher Munch.
It's just amazing to see how Kirk Cousins didn't take advantage of that Minnesota that area. You could have been a starter in Minnesota for real because they wouldn't have pushed what's the boy name?
McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, McCarthy. They would have pushed him in that area. That was your job.
But even with that, Coach, they probably still would have drafted McCarthy or drafted a quarterback. He's an older quarterback. I don't understand him going somewhere and then they drafting a quarterback has him so flustered. Why are you so flustered? Like, if you're that dude, for an example, take Aaron Rodgers. As much as people don't like him, when Green Bay drafted Jordan Love, what did Aaron Rodgers do? Okay, that's good you drafted him. He's going to be sitting for the next 2 years. You know what I mean? Because he's not going to take my spot.
Right.
That's the attitude we want to see out of. But for an organization to pick somebody for their future while they're still paying you $100 million, why does that make him feel so unwanted?
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I surely agree.
So that makes
my man,
so HO, that explains to me then why his playoff records and his games that are so important suck. Because
yeah,
he ain't that dude.
yeah. Well, let me, Coach, you want to go ahead and get in on that before we? I'm gonna bring Bob in. I know Bob got here a little early. He must have heard what we was talking about. I know he want to jump in and probably say something about Dez.
Bring Robert on.
Hi,
Hey,
gentlemen.
what's going on? You heard, you was in the background listening to the Kirk Cousins butt hurt feelings about he felt like he was misled. And so Bob, go ahead and give me your thoughts on his butt
Ace
hurt
hit it on
feelings.
the head, man. Be better. Be better. If you think you should be the man, be better. You're getting paid like you're you're one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but you got overtaken by a rookie, and that rookie didn't disappoint. So, you want to sit there and complain. First of all, acknowledge your injuries so that you ain't hurting the team that you supposedly want to be the leader of. And instead of sitting down realizing that, hey, you know what? I could have bettered this team by realizing I was in no shape to be leading a team down the field, and so keeping them from the playoffs. I mean, Michael Penix should have started 4 games before he did, and the Falcons, I mean, obviously I can't guarantee they would have been a playoff team, but they would have had a much better chance of being a playoff team than Kirk Cousins, who once the defenses and other teams realized there was something wrong with him and he couldn't throw it downfield, you stack the box and then you just hope that, you hope that Bijan doesn't run around you because he's that good. Bijan being awesome is the only reason that it was even as good as it was for as long as it was, because had he not been the man, I mean, everybody knew he couldn't throw it downfield. I mean, and then Kyle Pitts, not helping anything out there. You took that weapon away. So, I think that, when you see Penix get it this year, you're going to start to see, if Pitts is to stay around, I think you see his numbers increase as well, because he just has that ability, Penix does, to get the ball to his receivers zip quick. I mean, that's what I love about him is, as a guy, again, that I watched every single game that he was a quarterback in, his ability to hit his receivers in the prime catch zone is unlike any quarterback I see, at least going through Washington, at least going through Pac-12. His just so good at doing that. I think it catches his receivers off guard because it is so quick and it is so good. You just don't expect a quarterback to do that. Now, again, he's never really seen NFL type pressure, so we'll have to see how he does to that this year. But Kirk Cousins just don't have no argument. You should have been better. You got what you got from him. I mean, it's not like we picked up the elite of the elite when Atlanta signed him. He was a mid-tier quarterback who got overpaid. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's not like you went and picked up Joe Burrow. It's not like you went and picked up Josh Allen. You picked up a guy that happened to have one good year before, and he was just average before that. Tell me his playoff record. It's not like he won 10 games.
Hey, Bob, and then I can't even give that one good year to him because look what Sam Darnold wound up doing the year after.
Exactly.
So now I'm really looking at the coach. How good is the play caller compared to him?
Well, you'll get to see the exact same regression from Sam Darnold this year, because now I got to watch an 18-game season with him as my quarterback and suffer through that, because I know we're going to get the same exact thing because he don't got the weapons that he got to have in Minnesota. He didn't get the offensive coordinator that he got in Minnesota. So you're going to see a regression from him, and that's going to be the second most overpaid contract. Unfortunately, the Seahawks really didn't have a choice. They wanted to move on from Geno. So, and I do really kind of feel like Gino really wanted to go and be with Pete. So it's kind of a workout deal between the two of them. But it'll be interesting to see if Sam Darnold has that same type of regression. You're clearly going to realize that it was the Minnesota system that made those guys good, not the Minnesota quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think JJ, if he stays healthy, the ceiling is very high for him. I mean, again, because he's definitely got the offensive weapons there to be good. The pressure's not on him. He gets to step into a playoff caliber team. Most rookies dream of that.
Yeah. I think what this is what I take from it, and it sounds like a buster or a boy stop coming up for this. But I realized that, $100 million guaranteed coming off an Achilles injury. Well, if you felt that strongly about it, why didn't you say something when we asked you about it before the season started?
Yeah.
My thing is, don't wait till after all of everything done flew by and passed by, and now you want to cry wolf.
HO, I guarantee his Achilles didn't hurt when he put his name on that contract.
No, it didn't. I can promise you that. So that's the issue I have. I wait to now to all of a sudden lash out about how you really felt. If you felt that way, it wasn't. If you felt that way now, you felt that way then. You just didn't say that then because you were scared that you wouldn't go at least get a chance to at least start the season if you said something.
HO, nobody criticized Atlanta picking up Penix. They only was criticizing because, well, why did you pay Kirk so much money? But at the same time, quarterbacks get that grace, right? They get that grace. Listen, you go back to when the Cowboys started this nonsense when they paid Tony Romo Super Bowl money, and at that time he had not won a playoff game, but he got paid as if he had been to multiple Super Bowls. So quarterbacks get that benefit of the doubt. It is what it is. I did not have a problem with Atlanta picking up a rookie quarterback because this was a better draft. If you was to look in the future, if Kirk was going to be good and you was going to wind up having 9, 10 plus wins, you weren't going to be able to get a quarterback the next couple of years. Because you wasn't going to bet on Kirk being bad because you wouldn't have paid him that $100 million. You know what I mean? So you were going to wind up with a decent quarterback having a decent record and not be able to pick who you wanted in future drafts. So you got a guy right then at the 8th pick. To me, it make total sense. The other part of that as well, Kirk, you just mentioned HO, if you're coming off of Achilles, he now I got a solid backup and a young guy who would come in. And the third thing is, Kirk, you can now mentor this backup. Like everything that Atlanta did, I don't see where no other organization would have probably done the same thing, other than maybe not paid him $100 million guaranteed.
Be ready to go. Who's to say Penix just isn't ready? He's still a young second-year quarterback. Be ready to go.
Yep.
So that if you do get the call, then you're able to prove everybody wrong. Don't talk your mouth. You lost that team last year because you were selfish. Don't continue to be selfish and continue to lose the guys that you play with when all Michael Penix has shown is business. The Falcons, last year, the year before when they picked him in the draft, I started to hear rumblings from my Washington guys that the Falcons had fallen in love with him at the I think it's at Senior Bowl, and just by meeting him and stuff. But they never had an intention of picking him that high. They wanted to trade down in the draft, but he was always the guy that they wanted. But then they realized quickly that there was other teams that were going to pick him before, because the quarterbacks flew off the draft so quickly in that draft. And so, the Falcons had to make a choice. Hey, do we wait and hope that we can trade down and get him at 15, 16, which is probably where he was slotted in that draft? Or do we realize that right now everybody's panicking, taking quarterbacks, and we may lose a guy that, although he may not play for a couple years, hey, if Kirk Cousins isn't the guy, we've got that guy that we know that, hey, we would have picked him, a couple years down the line if that was the available pick for Michael Penix then, So why not take the guy you're interested in him? And, Kirk Cousins was immediately offended by that. Not, hey, you know what, let's get this guy, get him working behind me, learn, and that's one thing about, you never heard a word from Aaron Rodgers underneath, learning underneath Brett Favre. You never heard that until about the 4th or 5th year when it was like Aaron Rodgers finally like, hey, it's my turn, And then who was offended by that? Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers wasn't. It was Brett Favre's time to go. But those two, I bet Brett Favre hated working with him every single day, knowing that guy was eventually going to take his job. But you never heard a peep out of him. And then the same thing happened with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. You never heard Aaron Rodgers until he realized that it was Jordan Love's time and he was going to lose it. Then it was like, man, I taught this guy everything I know. Now I'm the one that's got to go. But that's just it. But he was complaining immediately when that guy was drafted. The news was that he wasn't happy and he was making phone calls and stuff like that. That they never asked him for his input. Who cares? You ain't the franchise quarterback. You a guy that was signed 2 months before the draft, a month before the draft. You weren't the franchise guy. It's not like Matt Ryan was there and they were like, yo, Matt, now we're going to go get this guy, man. No offense to you. Yeah. You were just a free agent, just like basically a draft pick, So yeah, earn the job. That's when you got to earn the job. I don't care if you get paid $100 million. If you suck, you suck. That's just the fact of the matter.
All right, before we get into our break report,
hey Joe, I guess Cousins thought he was gonna be there for the next 5 years. I don't know how he came in thinking he was gonna be there for the next 5 to 7 years.
Exactly.
At his age. So whether the Falcons pick the quarterback the same time they signed him, or this year, or a year after, whatever, a young quarterback was gonna be coming through that front door rather soon. So,
well, I tell you this, he had every opportunity to earn all of his guaranteed money.
And if I'm the Falcons, I keep him. If I'm the Falcons, I keep him until somebody get hurt, and then somebody got to trade for him to give me a third rounder. But in the meanwhile, he's gonna be $100 million backup because there's no guarantee that Penix don't get hurt. So you know what I'm saying? So.
Well, him opening up his mouth, like you said, Asa, may have put him in a bad situation with the Falcons. Now,
true.
The Falcons.
Well, you almost got to get rid of him.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, they may take some green eggs and ham for him now. But we'll see. Hey, our last item before we get into Bob and the Braves, Paul Pierce. All I got to say is, really, Paul Pierce? Sound like another buster coming up.
I was say you got your boy stopping at busters in the first part of the show, ain't yo?
Yeah, man. Listen, Paul Pierce said he is the purest scorer in NBA history. He said, he went through Jordan, LeBron. I don't even think they brought up Kobe, but he went down some names and he said he's the purest scorer in NBA history. So, all right, let me get your thoughts on that.
In the words of Rick James, cocaine a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I must agree. All right, Coach. Your thoughts on Paul Pierce and his comment?
Just like the old guy said one time, you know how you can tell Paul Pierce is lying? When he opens his mouth. It's simple as that. There's no way around it. Paul Pierce is a man who lives on the island of delusion. And he'll tell you in a minute who is the best player in the NBA history and why am I? and you just look at him like, yeah, okay, Paul. And then you make the conversation as short as possible because you don't want to talk to him that long, because then you'll start listening to him and your head will start hurting. You'll start having emotional problems and all kind of stuff. So, you just let Paul talk for a minute, then say, wow, my phone ringing. I'll call you. I'll talk to you later, Paul. And you move on.
Yeah. All right, Bob, what you got on Paul Pierce and his delusional
Well, I think
opinion?
from the things he said, I think we all know that Paul Pierce's biggest fan is Paul Pierce. I mean, kudos to him for thinking that, so highly of himself. I mean, I'm sure there's about 10 guys above him on the list that I could name. I mean, was he good? Of course he was good. I mean, there's a reason he had a Hall of Fame career, but I don't even think he was the best shooter on his own team. I mean, can you really say he was a better shooter than Ray Allen? I mean, Paul
Pierce act like we didn't see Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett come and save the ship. You know what I mean? Like, he act like we ain't see it.
At least be the best pure shooter on your own squad if you're going to say you're the best pure shooter of all time. I'm just, I don't want to throw a name out there, but I've seen Ray Allen a few times in my life, and I would say that he's a better pure shooter than Paul Pierce. But I mean, again, it's always good to have a little self-confidence. And
listen,
it makes we're talking about we're talking about him right now, so it works. I mean, his name is still in the conversation. How many years he been out the league now? So kudos to him for keeping his name in the conversation.
Hey, Ho, I'm here to tell you, Ray Allen was a better all-around player than Paul Pierce. Period. Like, people forget the Seattle Ray Allen. They forget that guy. People forget about Ray Allen was gonna give you buckets at the rim. Later in his career, he shifted to be what's considered a pure shooter, like Bob was saying. But people forget them first 5 to 7 years. Ray Allen was boinking on you.
Ray Allen carried that team. I mean, you got to figure Ray Allen all those years, the best player he probably had with him was Vin Baker. So yeah. I mean, he was that special of a player in Seattle, and like I said, all around, like I said, he's in my conversation.
He was two-way,
top 5 all around shooters. I mean, Paul Pierce probably not even in my top 10, but again, it's he's keeping himself relevant, and kudos to him for keeping himself relevant. But that's a tough get. I mean, I would say Kobe's probably a little bit better than him. That guy Jordan, probably a little bit better than him. So but like I said, when you ain't even the best shooter on your own team at that time, probably not the best conversation to go with. So when he said that, I was like, man, I really wish gotta keep myself off Twitter.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, with that being said, Bob, we're finna transition into our Atlanta Braves report. And I was telling the guys
we have to?
Yeah, I was telling the guys before we come on that this may be the most unanticipated Braves report that we've had on the show. I said I used to get Bob to talk me into how good the Braves could be or possibly be, but I'm not sure if that's the case. And I'll start off by saying, when you shot me the text about Dieter coming up and how hard he throws, I guess you forgot to mention that
that's all he does.
Yeah, that he throws softballs up there too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you've got a 19-year-old kid that doesn't have a secondary pitch, what do you expect? I mean, he can throw the ball hard, but when his secondary pitch is right down the middle and gone. But okay, you learned that from the first start. Why do you put a 19-year-old kid out there for 3 starts to get raked and lose his confidence when you could pick up somebody's ass off of waivers that can do that same exact thing and you don't lose the confidence? He should have never seen a second start from that. Ever. It was clear from the first start that he wasn't ready, and that's okay. I mean, not everybody can go. Not everybody is Paul Skeens and goes from AA right to the big leagues and is able to handle that. But you see what you got from him, and that's what I was like. It's okay to see what we got down there. Right now we have nothing to lose. We've got a pitchers full of disabled list, so why not give the guys a shot to see what they got? But when it's clear that he's not major league ready, why do you let him go out there and get shelled time after time again? This is the final straw for me for AA. That burned me. That pissed me off. I mean, because again, you have guys in the minors that are veterans. Again, if you need someone to eat innings and get shelled, you bring a guy like that up, and especially when your team that sucks, and clearly we suck right now. So, you just don't, again, you don't burn the confidence of some 19-year-old kid who now has to go back to the minor leagues thinking he don't got the stuff to be a big leaguer, and that's just. Braves have done a really, really horrible job. They've gotten considerably lucky with a couple of guys, but they do a horrible job of mental game ready for their pitching staff. Because I've seen a lot of kids come up here in the last few years that clearly just are not major league ready. Again, they're 20 years old, 21 years old, not, we struck it gold with Spencer Strider. We struck it gold with Spencer Schwellenbach. Those were guys that had clear secondary pitches. I mean, Strider obviously has an incredible slider to go with, the heat. And then, Schwellenbach's the same thing. He throws heat, but he has a great off-speed pitch to offset that. But look at when you look at those two, look at the track record of the pitching we brought up. Hurston Waldrop can't throw strikes. Didier can't throw strikes, and when he does, it's right down Broadway and gets knocked over the wall, So, and then so now we're not hitting on draft pick. When we lose, I start going down rabbit holes of research because that's what I do. I'm a research guy, and I start looking at the AA drafts, and I'm realizing that hey, when we won the World Series in 21. That wasn't AA's picks that got us there. That was the guy that got banned from from being the GM, Capalella. Yeah, it was him.
Yeah.
It was his picks, his guys. Can we give credit to AA for extending the guys that he did with very team friendly deals? Yeah, but do you think that when it's time to get Acuna paid here soon, that he's going to dish out the money that it's going to take to get Acuna signed here long term? Yeah, Acuna said he wants to be here long term. Do you think Acuna is going to stay here long term for $108 million? Get real. He's gone. Trade him. You're not going to give him the money. So now it's time to rebuild that system. Where it worked the last time with Capalella when we gave up and finally realized that Freddie Gonzalez was crap. And it was time to do something else. The Upton brothers weren't cutting it for us. You were doing good enough to stay relevant in your division, but now we're not even doing that anymore. We are irrelevant. The Miami Marlins are a better team than us. That is embarrassing. And so
you're saying let Acuna go too?
Yeah, because that's your biggest trade package. I mean,
I get it.
There's rumored offers on the table for him we're talking 4 or 5 top prospects. I know the Mariners are very interested in him. The Mariners have interest in Austin Riley as well. And the Mariners package, the things I've been looking at are, Lazaro Montez, top prospect in their organization. Harry Ford, their top catching prospect and one of the best catching prospects, which would allow us to move Sean Murphy. Bryce, I can't remember his last name, Bryce Miller. He's got a little bit of arm trouble this year, but he's also a guy that, even if he sat for a year, he's young enough that he would be a great prospect. And then another 2 guys that I wasn't as familiar with in their organization. But I mean, right now, the product on the field, they're not going to do anything right now. Everybody's like, hey, why ain't they got rid of Snit? Why ain't they got rid of this? Why are they not doing this? Because the All-Star game is here. You don't deal with distractions when you've got a major event coming there. You don't need that kind of news for the franchise. After that All-Star game leaves Atlanta, you're going to see some stuff. I mean, there's about to be some stuff go down. There's guys on this team now that aren't going to be there. Michael Harris needs to go down. I mean, he's a guy you keep. He's a guy, but he needs to go to AAA. I have never seen a guy so lost at the plate. I mean, we're going on 3 months now that he ain't been hitting. It isn't like, okay, he's on a Freddie Freeman slump where, it's 3 weeks of not hitting the ball when you're going to get a month of solid hitting. Michael Harris is living in the outfield slowly on his defense because it sure as heck ain't his offense. So, bro, I could rant for 4 hours right now. I've seen enough. I mean, I have seen enough.
Well, Bob and H.O., so I read an article last week. They were showing, and this will just go to your point about the hitting ineptitude. They were like the top 10 guys. They showed top 10 guys as far as leaving guys on base in scoring position, and the Braves had 3 out of the top 10.
Yeah,
Now, H.O., that goes back to you. You've been fussing about getting rid of got rid of the wrong hitting coach.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, I got 2 questions for you, Bob. One, how do you bring back the appropriate people in the coaching position? How do you get that back? And then 2, how much are the Braves lacking in the farm system, or are they not lacking at all?
Oh, they're lacking badly. I mean, we're bottom 5 in the farm system. That's why I was like, now it's time you've got to rebuild. Like how you got to the point with Acuna, stuff like that. You've got to get back to that point there. That's the problem with this year. We got hurt. Now we don't have those guys anymore. All those guys that we had to bring up are already playing for the Braves. But to go back, you look at they decided last year that it fell slowly on the blame of Kevin Seitzer. Now the Mariners are one of the top 5 best offensive teams in the league. Their catcher is leading the league in home runs, and Kevin Seitzer is one of the most beloved guys in that clubhouse. And we're stuck still not hitting the ball because we've got a lot of guys that they're just in their own heads and not hitting. You got a clean house. I mean, I want a house clean this year. We're talking, there's not one person in that dugout. You told me at the beginning of the year that Matt Tuiasosopo was going to be the next guy up when you put him at the third base and had him learn. And then you told me 3 months in that he was no longer the guy by basically shipping him to do some kind of minor league instructional thing in the minor leagues. And you said he is not good enough to even be a third base coach. So now you wipe that slate clean. It isn't Walt Weiss. I don't want to see Walt Weiss get the job. I don't want to see Eddie Perez get the job. I want everybody out, and I want the GM out, and I want to start all over. And I'm tired of the organization thing now. I want fresh people in there with fresh voices because we've got so much talent there. There's no reason that we should be hitting like this. We've got the talent in the world. I mean, Matt Olson is one of the best pure swinging first basemen. He should be having the same stats as Freddie Freeman, and he's just continuously struggling. And he's got such a pure swing. He should easily be a 300 hitter every single year. Austin Riley at times looks completely lost. I mean, especially with runners in scoring position, he looks doubly especially lost, So you've clearly shown that you are unable to hit sacrifice flies. You're unable to bunt people over to get runners in scoring position. You're unable to hit balls to the right side to get runners over or get runners in. So you can't situational hit. You've got a manager that's like, well, I don't need to tell them anything. They already know they're struggling. Man, fire their asses up, man. Get thrown out a couple times. Do something. He just looks like he's bored in there, and I'm just tired of that. I want to see, man. There was I don't remember who it was that bad the other day. It was just horrible strike call, and Snicker just in there mumbling to himself. I'm like, man, get your ass out there and get thrown out. Do something. You know, it was a close game too, but no, that's just not how he does things. You know, and I just want new voices. I'm frustrated, not just as a Braves fan, but as a realist.
Yeah, Coach shaking his head. You wanted to say something, Coach? Or you were just kind of marvel at how bad the Braves.
There's only one thing. I mean, if you just look at it, they are a victim of bad luck and bad timing. But like Bob said, nut break. Yes, some changes need to be made. But I mean, bad luck. Strata not itself, Snelling by, and
DJ is out.
as far as offense, I'm so old school. I never seen it where, and I saw it the other night. It wasn't the Braves, it was somebody else. Lead off double, and you got a number 9 hitter coming up. Why is he not pointing that man to third base? Stuff like that. I don't see that.
Yeah, because you
do
ain't got a number 9 guy.
Why that man not being punted to third base? And then you got to.
But you know, you mentioned a victim of being bad luck and stuff like that. Bad luck means you're a 500 team. Bad luck means you're a 500 team. They're good enough that even with these injuries, they should still be in contention for the wild card. This is a terrible team. We are the third worst team now. I mean, you know, and the 2 teams that are below us are like absolute dirt crap teams, you know. So, yeah, again, it's time for the excuses to end and time for moves to be made to get yourself to the future. Because right now, if we continue the way that we are now, we're looking at this isn't a team right now that even if a couple pitchers get healthy, you're looking at, you know, next year it's all going to turn around and we're going to be those guys again. Look at the other teams in the league that have lapped the Braves so bad. I mean, and then, you know, their prospects are hitting while the Braves aren't. You know, that's just what it is. I mean, we're no longer even relevant in our own division. I mean, the Mets and the Phillies have taken over as, you know, the leaders of that division. And it's a shame because, you know, I can only hold on for so long with the hope that we can turn this thing around. You look at where we're at now.
No, it's over, man.
This year.
No, they're not going to make the wild card. They're too far back now, even to make that wild card. So
you're looking at two NL West teams. They're going to make that wild card once the Dodgers win the division, and then that's going to lead one in the East. You know, Phillies or Mets, and then the Central to battle maybe for one. But yeah, the Braves are going to do nothing. I mean, yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Is it an understatement to say AA has been exposed this year?
Well, it makes you wonder. You know, we used to give him credit, but it makes you wonder now, was he just lucky? I mean, you know, it hit in 21. It hit in 21 because he brought the right guys at the deadline. But you got to look back at 21 too. It's not like he brought in a major piece to get us the World Series. He just got really lucky that the 3 guys that he brought in went out of their, you know, out of the world for them. It's not like we brought in 3 guys that, you know, in Soler, Eddie, and
Peterson.
Jock Peterson. Yeah, it's not like those guys were career superstars. They were mid-tier guys that just played out of their minds. But tell me one good free agent, I mean, that he's brought in since he's been here. I mean, one really good guy that we still have that wasn't a guy that Capolella brought in that went through the system. We ain't got none because the guy that he was responsible for, Sean Murphy, ain't hit worth shit. Matt Olson isn't hitting. I mean, you know, I would have, if this is how it's going to be, maybe we should have given that 7 years and watched Freddie Freeman downward spiral at the end of his career. I'd rather see that than what we're seeing right now, because we went for 2 years younger and Matt Olson ain't hitting. So,
All right,
I mean,
Bob.
someone's got to take the blame. That's his guys.
Hey, Joe.
My last question to you.
Hey,
Ronald
Joe.
Acuna. Yeah. Go ahead. Did Coach freeze up?
Let me go back to Bob real quick. Let me go back to Bob. Bob, I realize that this is your segment. This is your forte. And this is where you shine as far as dealing with the Braves. But I was trying to make a point, and you cut me off.
Oh, you about to get shanked, Bob.
Bob, I'm not going to allow you to cut me off. I'm not going to accept that right now. You went on and on and on. So now don't say anything, because I'm going to introduce you to something just in case you didn't know.
I'm angry.
See this, Bob? See this, Bob? I'm just letting you know right now. You cut me off again, I'm gonna have something to deal with you about. I just had to mess with you, Bob. You are so knowledgeable. It hurts my soul to see. That's the good stuff you always bring every week.
I'm just trying to fire it up in here so that you stay awake till 9 o'clock.
Well, this is my question, Bob.
Yeah, what's up?
Ronald Acuna had tweaked his back lifting weights. Can we officially say that Ronald Acuna now is injury prone?
No, I mean, again, it's there. You know, I hate that stigma that gets put on somebody like that. I mean, again, you know, the injuries that he's suffered are, you know, have been serious injuries, and that sucks for him. You know, there ain't, you know, but it's not. I mean, injury prone to me is, you know, you know, a hamstring that's sore, and then you sit out, or you know, your side hurts. You know, oblique. Oblique is one that I absolutely hate. You know, and you know, so oblique injuries. You know, guys that don't take care of themselves. Clearly, Ronald takes care of himself. He's in great shape. He's, you know, again, you know, in one of the best players in baseball still now. You know, clearly why he's on the All-Star team 2 months. You know, 2 months that he's played in the season, which has been so good. I think it was just kind of a freak thing where he pulled a muscle. Sounded like he wanted to play yesterday, anyways, but there was just no sense in, you know, making it worse, you know, because, you know, a back can nag a little bit. So, yeah, I don't think it does. I know that, I mean, he's such a big part of this, you know, All-Star weekend. And I know that he wants to be there because he wants to represent, you know, the organization and stuff like that. And rightfully so. I mean, he deserves to be that guy, that, you know, the face of, you know, the face of the All-Star game. You know, I think that's one reason why. And I'm hoping that this, you know, he's still able to do the home run derby. This doesn't affect him, because that's something I know that a lot of baseball and the fans really want to see him, you know, doing that there. You know, but yeah, I don't think it's hard to give him such an injury prone thing, but, you know, it just, like I said, it's just unfortunate that there's been major injuries like that have kept him out for long periods of time. You know, but you know, I'll tell you right now, you know, a lot of people gave him grief because they're like, look, you know, we won the World Series at 21. We didn't need him. Man, he had a heck of a supporting cast in 21. He ain't got it. Now we're seeing how important he really is, because, you know, look where we are when he wasn't a part of this team for a long period of, you know, just getting back into this season. And, you know, so he's the only one hitting the ball. But I said, you know, when we talk about, do I want the Braves to move him? No, but look who we have and that can get us the pieces that we need, and who's coming up for a contract renewal within the next couple of years. That's not going to take $108 million to stay with the Braves. And again, he'll be in his, I think, 28-year-old season when that comes up. And we all know if AA is still the GM, AA don't sign no 6-year deals for 28-year-olds, or else Freddie Freeman would still be a Brave. We wouldn't be watching Max Fried dominate the American League right now. So, that's what I gotta say about that. It's just it's been a long time since I felt this way. I probably, the last year of seeing Justin Upton and BJ Upton play together is probably the last time I was this frustrated with the Braves, just because I felt like we were accepting mediocrity. And I can't stand, I would rather lose 100 games for 3 years knowing that we're eventually going to get better. And that's when they finally made that decision to go with a full rebuild, and accepted losing for a couple of years to get the fan base back. And look what it did. I mean, it got us a new stadium. It filled that stadium, and but they're on a path right now to turn away those fans, and lose them. And that's one thing you can't afford to do in Atlanta, is lose your baseball fans, because the Hawks are making the moves. The Falcons are sure as heck making the moves. You quickly about to be the number 3 team in Atlanta, maybe even the number 4 team, if the United could get their stuff together. You quickly fall down that path, the Braves fan, as sport fans in Seattle, that battery ain't going to be producing the money that you thought it was before.
Yeah. All right, Bob. How close are the Braves to selling? Maybe that's our only hope.
We're selling both ways. I mean, there's funny selling as as being sellers on the trade market. I'd say we're pretty close. I mean, again, we got to get the money for Sean Murphy needs to come off the books. We have Drake Baldwin, no need for Sean Murphy. So let's get him off the books, get him traded to a contender. There are contenders looking for catchers. I see him completely being gone. I don't think he'll be the biggest name traded though. And then there's rumblings going on that team is for sale too. The Liberty Media, the Braves are a low man on the totem pole in that portfolio. They own Formula One racing, like I've said here before. That's their golden child is Formula One racing. So they don't need the Braves. That's just we're just a piece in their portfolio. And so I could see another organization, like someone like that purchasing them that wants to add a portfolio piece, because the battery is such a good money maker for the Braves. Really it pays for the team, and with how well that battery has done for them, both with housing, restaurants, mall shopping type thing. It's become a go-to entertainment plaza. So you can see. Yeah, you can see both ways. Like I said, I have heard rumblings that they would probably look to sell after this year with having the All-Star game and getting that revenue. But so we shall see about that. But yeah, I think as trading sellers, again, we're definitely going to be sellers. But again, what really do we have to offer? What can we sell? And so again, I could see if. The worst thing that happened for the Braves as far as trade was Ozuna being hurt, because he was our most tradable chip, being that he comes off the books this year. So clearly we're not going to re-sign him here. So he would have been a perfect rental for somebody at the trade deadline to get, with the power that he's had for the last couple of years. But knowing now that, he has the injury that's going to affect him the whole entire year, the price went down for him. I still think he'll be traded anyway. We just won't get what we could have got for him had he been healthy and producing like he did last year.
All right, Bob, we're about to transition. Hang around if you can. We're finna jump into a ball of buses and board stop.
All right, man. I've got to roll, but can't stay very long today. But I just wanted to come rant for a little bit, because I've been holding it all in for the last 3 months.
There you go. All right, man. Well, let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter.
You can find me at Bowling Bob, and lately it's been a little more silent, but it's about to pick up here because trade deadline is my favorite time. So I'll be pressing any rumors and stuff. Like I said, I've been trying to vet what's really true rumor wise, and talking to some of my guys. The good thing for me is I do have a lot of guys in the Seattle market that I'm friends with that work around the Mariners teams. So that's the people that are feeding me the Mariners rumors. I truly believe that some of those have some rumblings, and I know the interest with them being a contender, they would like to have some of those pieces. But find me at Bowling Bob. Talk Braves pretty much 24/7.
All right, Bob. We'll talk to you next time, man. We appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, make sure Coach gets a lot of time in now that I'm leaving.
Okay, we'll do. All right, Bob.
I have told you. I
So you
don't know
go.
how to explain it every time, but they don't get it.
All right, buddy. All right, here we go. Baller, busters, and bust stop. Let's go ahead and get into it. Baller this week. LeBron James Jr. Bronny James, 45 points, a triple-double in the Summer League. How about that? Yes, sir. Bronny James done went to the summer drills, and he done worked out. He doing his thing, and 45 points later, he's in the Summer League, lighting up Las Vegas. So, Bronny James, you are my baller for this week. Yes, sir. The proof is in the pudding. Go ahead and earn your money. So, LeBron James Jr., you did your thing this week, last week. All right, that's all I got. All right, Ace, what you got, baller?
My baller, I'm gonna go with Angel Reese. Just signed her shoe deal with Reebok, so she got her official shoe, AR ones. So Angel Reese ones. So I'm gonna give her a shout out.
Okay. All right, Coach.
Oklahoma City's 2 stars, Holmgren and Alexander, making combined almost $600 million combined on those new contracts. I wish I was a little bit taller.
Man, wish you was a little taller, Coach.
Yes, sir.
You'd have been in there, huh?
I wouldn't have been in there. I've been knocking at the door. I don't know if I'd have been in there. I just want to be in the same state. I know I ain't gonna catch up with them.
Describe to me how your basketball game is. Are you a shooter, defensive player, or you like to set screens and get people off? Balls.
To quote Kendrick Perkins, I feed people like we at grandmama's house on a Sunday. I like assists. Okay. I don't deal with shooting and all that other stuff. I'm a assist guy.
Hey, so describe your game.
When I was younger, I had a first step. Once I got you on that first step, it was over.
Okay, first step king. All right, here we go. Buster this week. No other than how can it not be a buster? The Atlanta Braves. They might be a buster for the next few weeks here. But the Atlanta Braves are the busters this week. Getting shell shocked last night, 10-1 by a team that's worse than them in the Oakland A's. It is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, bust of the week are Atlanta Braves. Hey, sir.
I'm gonna have to take one from you. Since we were talking about Paul Pierce. Well, nah, he's not a buster. He a boy stop. Buster of the week. I don't have a buster of the week. To be honest with you, I got a boy stop. But I don't have a.
You can get in the car with me with the Braves.
I'm gonna get in the car with you then. Yeah, I mean, listen. Talking about like these last 3 series, so they had the Orioles. They had, I want to say it was the Mets or it was Philly.
Philly. Listen, they had a 9-game home stretch and they won 2 out of 9.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, And yes, that's right. Yeah. So, and then 2 of those series was against, you could have made up the grounds head to head. So, like I said, going 2-9, going from being, you know, 6 back now to 13 and a half back. Yeah, I get in the car with you.
All right, Coach, you getting in the car too? I need to drive me up my expedition.
No, you don't need to be getting in there. Could get ugly. Could be violence. No. Who did I have?
What you got?
I let's see. I did have somebody on the. I can't think. I might well jump in the car with you because the person I had, I forgot they proved themselves. The other day with Ace Bailey, he stepped his game up. So I'm gonna go and jump in the car with you.
All right, come on, jump in there. I'm gonna drive an expedition since you like Ford.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with what they said about Snicker. When those calls are made, he don't even bat eye. And somebody told me so they put a mirror on his nose to see if he was breathing during some games. So they have to be careful. He's not doing anything, not getting excited. At least get kicked out of a game or something. Try to.
Yeah. Bobby will at least fight. Bobby Cox will fight for his players. I know that.
Yeah, Cox would have been kicked out by now.
Yeah, he go out there with that penguin walk and he let him know, give him a piece of his mind. All right, my boy, stop. I think y'all will get in the call with me again. Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce with his ridiculous take on he is the purest scorer in NBA history. That is a boy stop for sure. Absolutely a boy stop. So
yeah, I'm in there with you. Yeah.
All right, Coach, come on, jump in the car with us.
If Paul Pierce ain't driving, I'm all right. I'm in there. As long as he ain't driving.
No, he won't be driving us. Yeah, absolute knucklehead for sure. All right, with that being said, we're going to talk about Paul Pierce in our NBA our roundtable discussion. Let me switch up the banners here and we can get into our roundtable discussion before we get into our fun bag, but the roundtable discussion. Coach mentioned that Shea and Chet has signed extensions close to what Chet get 250 and Shea got 285 or something like that.
Some in that area.
Yeah.
So OKC, maybe we need to borrow the GM from OKC and let him come down to the Braves and let him do some moves and shakes. Cause it look like right now that question for y'all: do you think the NBA is embarrassed to allow Shea to be the face of the NBA because he's not U.S. born, and we don't have a U.S. born face of the league? Because even if Shea, if you don't make him the face, the second person will be Jokic. He's not American born. The third person will be the Greek freak. He's not American born. The next person will be Luka. He's not American born. So with that being said, do you think the NBA is ashamed of no Americans that they're at the top of their game that can take the mantle and be the face of the league?
I don't think so. When you stop and think about it, I mean, most people wouldn't know that Shea wasn't American Canadian. He went to Kentucky. You know what I mean? So, most folks probably wouldn't put those two things together. But Yoke just became the face of the league over the last 2 or 3 years, and before him, it was LeBron and Curry. Mm-hmm. So we talk about it as if it hasn't and then you mentioned Greek freak as well. But we talk about it as if, the face of the league hasn't been an American player in the last 10, 12 seasons. This has only been the last 3 or 4 seasons where you've had some foreign guys really kind of be the face of the league. and they haven't taken it over because LeBron and Steph Curry still dominate a lot of the airspace. So I don't think there's no embarrassment there. I think the NBA could have done a better job and maybe promoting some of these so-called the American kids or whatever. But I think that's about to change. You're about to have Brunson, that's going to be talked about out of the New York area. So.
All right, Coach, what you got? What you got on that, Coach?
I think we just want good basketball.
It's toxic. It's just that. That's the word I'm looking for.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Sound like your relationship when you was back in your 20s.
I mean, Joe, Joe and Coach.
God, no.
I had a question for you, Coach. I got a question for you too. I mean, if you name your top 10 players, what? 6 of them is going to be American born? I would presume.
Yep. Yep, I can name 10 American players right now of all time. That what you saying?
No. I'm talking about just like right now. If I name the top NBA players right now, 6 of them would be American, 4 of them would be foreign. That's why I'm saying, like, I feel like we're overblowing it, even though the last couple of MVPs have not been American born in SGA and two-time Joker. I think the whole American born thing holds more weight in boxing than it does in the NBA.
That can be true. Are we making a big deal out of nothing?
I think so.
Okay.
If I was in Denver, I'll be wearing a Jokic jersey or a Murray jersey. I bet you that's their top 2 selling jerseys in Denver right now.
All right, let's get to our NBA question of the day. This is directly to Paul Pierce. Name me 3 guys that are better scorers than Paul Pierce.
Of all time? Or in his era?
All time, because he said he was a pure scorer of all time.
Oh, gosh. Really? Pete Maravich, Ray Allen, Steph Curry. I'll stop right there.
Hell, I could go Joe Johnson, Kevin Durant, and Carmelo Anthony.
I was gonna go to the 80s. We had Dale Ellis, we had Dale on. What I mean? I go so I mean Dominique, pure scores. My man from New York that got hurt.
Bernard King,
yeah. I'm just trying to go old school. You know what I mean? Just to say, like, listen, we what are you talking about? You the best scorer of all time. Like this.
We've been doing this. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So I got Joe Johnson, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony. He can't touch neither one of them. Not one-on-one anyway.
Nope.
Hell, I throw Michael Beasley now.
Oh, not Beasley.
Yeah, and I'm holding off on Iceman, George Gervin, Kyrie Irving, and Michael Jordan. And if Lenny Byers stays alive, whew. I mean, come on, man. We can like we said from the beginning, we can name about 10 guys that can go before we pick Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
As far as Pierce going.
Larry Bird.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said of all time or in his era, in Paul Pierce's era. But in Paul Pierce's era, we can go, like I said, Ray Allen right off his team.
Yes, right off his team. He couldn't handle old Ray. Hell, Dwayne Wade too. He couldn't handle him.
Yeah.
All right, real quick before we jump into our fun bag, what do y'all
Man,
think
you
about?
roll out of almost 50 players.
I agree. What do y'all think about the Hawks moves and how they been doing?
Man, you had E-Dub on last week. Yeah, E-Dub on last couple of weeks in a row. He taught me off the edge, I want to say 3 weeks ago. Then the next week he taught me into the bar. I'm at the bar. Now he got me buying stocks. I'm buying Hawk stocks. So I put you this way, HO. I've been in Atlanta long enough now to see the Falcons go to a couple of Super Bowls, see the Braves win a couple of World Series, see Atlanta United win a MLS Cup. See the Georgia Bulldogs win a couple of national championships. And only thing left on that to-do list as far as major sports is the Hawks to get to a NBA Finals.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not this is probably the most legit chance I've seen for them to have a chance in the next 2 years, next 2 seasons, maybe 3, but definitely next 2 seasons to get to a NBA Finals. And I know everybody want to say, well, you know, with Trae Young a few years ago, they made it against Milwaukee and then lost. But I put that on, you know, the piss poor coaching of Doc Rivers with Philadelphia. Atlanta shouldn't have been in that position. So,
yeah.
But now a mature Trae Young, you've this on paper to me, this is probably the best looking Atlanta has looked since when they had Al Horford and Teague and
Joe Johnson.
Korver. Yeah. When they had a true team, they just ran into the NYPD and then ran into Cleveland. Remember NYPD broke my man's leg.
Yeah. So if Porzingis can stay healthy and play top level and give us at least 72 games, how far can this team go?
I want 65 games. I don't need 72. Give me 65 and have him ready for the playoffs. I think they can make the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
All right, Coach, what you got on that?
Is Trae still on the team?
Yes.
Yeah.
They ain't going nowhere.
Dang,
Coach.
Dang, Coach.
I mean, it just put what it is.
What that man do to you?
Scoring, he gonna lead him in assists, but he gonna still have that mentality of doing his little shake like he cold and kissing to the crowd, and his defense like a question on an exam, optional.
I think that's the thing that for who they picked up now, you can actually he's not. I'm with you, Coach, on him. You know, the one true weakness in this game is he's a defensive liability. But who they picked up now, when it comes into the game scenarios, you may not even have to have Trae on the court. So and if you do, I think they got enough to where you can cover. So you have a rim protector and Porzingis. You have on the wings, you got guys who are long and probably can get back and cover if Trey was to get beat and can't stay in front of the ball. So I think they've covered that with this draft and the last couple of trades they've made. So I hear you, but I think they got enough to that doesn't lack as much.
Nikhil Alexander Walker spoke the other day about being in Atlanta. He said he's ready to go, and he's already played under Quinn Snyder one time, so he says that the lingo is somewhat the same. Got somewhat of a head start, so
Yeah, he'll probably be starting too. He won't be coming off the bench. So
no,
he's happy to be here.
I don't think he'll be starting though.
He won't be starting. Okay,
Yeah,
I know he came off the bench in Minnesota. I thought he started in Utah.
yeah, it'll be Dyson, Trey,
Jalen Johnson, I forgot about him.
yeah, Jalen Johnson,
Yeah.
Double O, and I don't know who will be at the 3. I don't know. Maybe he will start. We'll have to see. But yep, we just rattled off about 10 to 12 people who would annihilate Paul Pierce. Do y'all agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we just if y'all run into Paul, tell him to call into the show. We'll be welcome. We'll be more than happy to give him everything that we got to let him know that we done our research and ain't no way that you are the best scorer in NBA history.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Ain't that something? Yeah, man. So what else we got in our roundtable discussion? Let me look and see what we got. What else we got here? Now, how long will it take before we start calling OKC a dynasty? Are we there yet, or we need to wait for another
Nah,
championship?
they gotta win. They gotta win one. They gotta either win it back to back or win 2 and 3 years. Just winning one don't mean you a dynasty. So let's see what they do next year. I think
Coach, what you
dynasties
think?
are two back to back or 2 and 3 years before you can start talking dynasty.
Oh, Ricochet is at the 3. That's who I was missing. Zach
Okay.
Ricochet at the 3. Jalen Johnson and Okafor. I mean, I say Okafor, but Okongwu at the 5.
So you don't even have Porzingis starting then.
No, we got Porzingis coming off the bench along with
Bench.
Walker.
Walker. Oh yeah, I mean, listen, that's even better. So like I said, with Porzingis, if you're worrying about his health, I can control his minutes and have him come off the bench. So I don't have to have him playing. I don't have to have him logging, but maybe 25, 30 minutes a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Coach, how you like Ricochet? You think he's pretty decent player that contribute to what the Hawks trying to do? Coach, you're not on mute. Oh, you on mute, Coach.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think he's gonna get better.
Oh,
And with
okay.
every year, I think he has a chance to get better, considering what he's playing with. He doesn't have to be the leading scorer. I think he should know that, so he can play with a little freedom.
So you like that starting five? Dyson, Trey, Ricochet, Jalen Johnson, and Okongwu.
Yeah, you gotta hope that Crispy gets in that lineup and doesn't get hurt. If he stays healthy, he'll go get back to his name of being a unicorn.
Yeah, we can sign Larry Nance Jr. to at least give us something in case
No,
KP.
Larry Nance, he's already
He what?
signed with Cleveland. He's not coming. He signed with
Oh,
Cleveland.
okay. Well, wishful thinking. Yeah, I like that starting five along. It got a little defense. Then you got Walker coming off the bench with KP. Who was coming off the bench with that group? Oh, Veach. Kobe Buffkin.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about the Hawks right now, or I think could be better. Do we have a? We probably can we use can we get an upgrade at the point guard at the backup position? Maybe they can address that.
Corey Joseph still there, I think he'll be a nice little addition.
Okay.
Or is that right, Coach? Seems like Coach is the GM, all them free agents. He know where all of them going.
Oh yeah.
What about Corey Joseph? Has he signed yet?
Joseph is still around. He ain't going anywhere.
Okay.
Will he get any playing time? That's the thing.
Well, just as a backup, so we should be good.
Yep. That's all he need to do. If he can hold up, their benches, it could be a lot better. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right, man. We're about to move on from the transition. Guess what time it is, Coach?
Uh-oh.
SRT Fun Bag.
You gotta have some fun in the bag.
Yeah, I'm finna reach in the bag and see what we get. All right, here we go. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. First question. Name the last book you read.
Oh God.
Oh well. Can it be an audio book?
Yeah, it can be audio book too. I should say the last book you read or listened to.
Dang, it was. I had to do this. Damn, let me see if I can find it now. And I forgot the name of it. It's about leadership. Let me find it and I'll tell you what it is. Gotta look it up in my app store. I'm gonna let Coach go ahead and I'll tell you what it was for me. I can't remember.
All right, Coach. Last book you read.
Green eggs and ham.
How long ago was that? Had they come?
That's been a minute. Because I had to read it to my kids at school. So yeah, the kindergartners, we were sitting around and they wanted to hear green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam. I am. So had to read Green Eggs and Ham, and they were just tickled to death. I'm like, y'all like anything, don't you? They said yes. I said, where you gonna read Green Eggs and Ham?
All right, here we go. Last book I read was this one, Stretch Your Mind, of course, by the famous author H.M. and The Singular Truth. Yes, sir.
I think you pulled them off your shelf so you could have them on display. So you can read.
No, they sit right here with me. All right, so the next question is this. Are you a reader or audio listener?
I'm a podcaster, audio book or whatever.
Yeah, audio. I do audio. Uh-oh. Hey, Carletta. The power of a praying woman. Woo.
Boy, she stepped it up then, Nancy.
Yep.
She said she's a reader. Asa, you a reader or you audiobook?
Audio.
Coach, reader or audiobook?
Audio.
I can do both, but when I'm in the car, definitely audio. All right, next question. This gonna be pretty fun. Dead or alive? Who would you love to hear sing the national anthem?
Yoo-hoo.
Man. Miss Whitney, Miss Luther, Mr. Luther, Marvin Gaye.
I said who, not give me a list, but okay.
Oh, my bad. He gonna get a list.
See. Coach, who we got?
Prince.
You want to hear Prince sing the national anthem?
Yes, for the word, just the extra words he'll put in there.
Like what?
Oh, say, can you? Yeah. Prince will change the whole national anthem. They be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about Prince though, Coach? I probably rather hear him play it on the guitar. Like I think people don't realize, you know, he probably was a top 5 guitarist in the whole world.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Elton John. I'm gonna go with old Elton John for the national anthem. All right, next question. How many days can you fast for with no food and just drinking water? How many days can you do that?
Can half be a day? I give you half.
I can give you 3.
3 days with no food, but just water?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Carletta said she got a Christine Aguilera.
Oh yeah, Aguilera got some pipes now. She can throw down. She got some pipes.
Okay. So how many days can you go, Asa?
I can go 3.
3.
I can give you 3.
30. Woo.
Yeah, no.
I can probably do 7 days. 3 to 7 days, I would say.
That 30 days you were doing that for, I mean, like what was a spiritual thing? Like I'm trying to figure out how that 30 days, the longest you did, what were you doing it for? You got to answer more than just put 30 days and come off the chat. You got to explain yourself.
There you go. Yeah, put her on the spot. She probably heard it, so I'm sure she gonna say something. All right, so the next question is this: what is your traveling pet peeve? Now that the government says you don't have to take shoes off for PSA anymore, but what is your traveling pet peeve? What do you hate when you travel?
I hate that people don't understand Simon Says. So
Get
like
on the airplane.
you know how the TSA agent be like, make sure you take out all your computer stuff, your laptops, put it in the bin, XYZ, and then folks be standing there like, say what? I know if I heard what the lady said, you standing right behind me, how you ain't here? Like, or if this your first time flying, you pretty much already, if this got to be your first time flying, it's not your first time flying, you're supposed to already kind of know, take your laptop out at least and have it in a separate bin.
All right, Coach. What about you? What is your traveling pet peeve?
Having to get on the plane.
Oh yeah, you don't fly, do you?
Nope.
All right, yeah. Mine is when someone gets on the plane and they put their bag in the overhead in row 10, but they sitting in row 30.
Oh.
I mean, they just put their stuff in there, the first one they see. I hear your answer, Asa, from Carletta.
Okay. All right. No, that's why I was assuming for the 30 days, assuming it had to be a spiritual thing. Okay. All right. No, it's all good. All good.
All right, now you got to give us your pet peeve, Carletta, for traveling. Oh, she putting Bible verses in there too.
Isaiah 58.
Oh, I already know where she was going when she said she was doing it for spiritual Bible reasons. I already know the passages that she was going to be looking at. All right, that.
All right, so we're gonna say amen to Sister Carletta because she's in one of my spiritual groups, and so yeah, we call her Mrs. Prayer. All right, so the next question. We got to keep one, bench one, cut one.
Uh-oh.
Mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, baked potato.
Say that again.
Mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, baked potato.
Mashed potato. No, baked potato, mashed potato, mac and cheese.
Yes.
Keep one, cut one.
Yeah. Keep
bench
one, cut one, bench. Yeah. So how we going with that?
Baked potato, macaroni and cheese. And what's the other one?
Mashed potatoes, baked potato, and mac and cheese.
Okay. Keeping the mac and cheese. Benching the baked potato. Cutting the mashed potato.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with what you said, Ace. All right, Coach, what you got?
Baked potato, mashed potato, mac and cheese.
You say you keeping what?
The baked potato.
And you go bench
the mashed potato.
And you cutting mac and cheese.
Yep.
Okay, Coach, look at you.
Yeah, everybody can't make mac and cheese.
All right, here we go. Name a underrated and a overlooked blessing. All right, hold on.
Health.
Keep mac and cheese, bench mashed potatoes, cut baked potato. All right. So your overlooked blessing and your underrated blessing.
Overlooked blessing is health.
Okay. And your underrated blessing?
Being able to being able to walk.
All right, Asa, what you got?
The overlooked blessing is to be able to help others when you have the ability to do so.
Okay.
And then the
your
underrated man is being able to wake up every day. Whether you wake up with problems or not, just being able to wake up.
All right, I got mine someone similar. My overlooked blessing is waking up in the morning. My underrated blessing is being able to get home every day you can, go to sleep so you can wake back up in the morning. Everybody who leave their house
Don't always come back.
in the morning don't always come back home.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I should have had my music playing in the back.
That's all right.
I found my audio book too, HO. It's Good to Great by Jim Collins. That's the last one I downloaded. Good to Great.
Good to great. Okay.
How to go from good to great.
What did you learn from it?
Oh man, the main thing is being consistent.
I can go with that.
So whatever you're working on, you gotta just be consistent with it. Keep on chipping away.
And coach, you gotta fast a little longer than just a half a day too, coach.
I know. You trying to make a brother suffer.
No,
Okay. Well, I fast during the time I go to Big Easy Grill.
you go torture yourself.
That's all right.
You'll torture yourself trying to do that. All right, man. That being said, that was the last question. So that's it for the fun bag. And I got to give a shout out to my guys, Asa Brown and Coach and Bob Lancaster, Bowling Bob, for coming through. I've never seen Bob that passionate and that upset about the Braves ever in life. And he said he is done. He said he is done. And he said trade Ronald Acuna right now where you can reset the organization.
Mm.
Do y'all agree with that?
Nope.
So I was surprised he had Acuna on there, but again, if you're able to bring a haul back and get some guys in the farm league, you know, I guess I'll go for it. Again, also if you think he's a injury prone, which he doesn't think, then you want to get rid of him while he has some trade value. But I think the problem with the Braves are more so to do with coaching and all that than it is with the players. You know what I mean? So,
but you know the hitting coach that they fired went to Seattle, and Seattle is the best hitting team in the league.
Yeah. So they've made some internal. They made some internal mistakes, and it ain't necessarily the players.
For sure. All right, man. With that being said, also shout out to everybody who tuned in and listened tonight. If we had any new listeners, please make sure you go to YouTube and click the like and share and subscribe button. We really appreciate that. And everybody who tuned in tonight, I want to thank Carletta for being our spiritual guidance. I know she prayed for us before the show started, so I want to thank her for that. And Coach, maybe you should get on Saturday morning sometime, and instead of Rev doing the prayer, she can come in and pray for you.
All right.
Say Rev for Sunday prayer. All right, Asa, give me your shout out.
Hey man, shout out to always you, HO, with Coach, SRT family in the show. Always have a good time when I'm on. Um, check me out and my other half, Don, on Mondays. Just go to DNA Sports Talk, all social media. We'll be on Monday, 7 to 9 p.m. And speaking of blessings and all that, man, if you're in the Atlanta area, you out there and it's raining, make sure you be safe and get home.
I know that's right. Any Wilmington updates you want to give us?
Nah, Coco got put out early. I got to go and see who's left, but she got put out like the first weekend. You know what I mean? So, I got to check in on them.
Give a shout out to Roger Federer as he's now the first center player to hit $1 billion mark.
Yeah, well, took him his whole career, but that's saying a no. I don't mean that as no slight. That tell you how hard it is for a tennis player, right? You know what I mean? So,
for sure. All right, Coach, give me a shout out.
That is not a slight.
Give a shout out to Ho, not Ho, H-O. AB, Ace of Brown, who is right now he's better than the other AB, Antonio Brown, who was on the run. But, don't get on the run, Ace. The listeners on YouTube and here in SRT, my boys, Red Rev show. Rev is doing a great job at his summer camp for his children at the church. And if y'all ever see that menu, they eat better than most people eat every day. My goodness, they be eating good. But he's doing a great job with them, Red, and everybody. Shout out to Ronald Acuna. Hope you can get yourself ready for the home run derby, because I like to see how many you can hit at your home ballpark, and at least dignity to the Atlanta Braves, even though they ain't gonna be working on it. And I hope that the game is actually worth something, but that's another story for another day.
Hey, Coach, you gotta be careful of these Browns now. James Brown, Chris Brown, Antonio Brown. You gonna need more than your shank messing around with us.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Brown is the most dangerous name in the world. James Brown, Antonio Brown, Chris Brown. Yes, sir.
Old wrestler back in the day, bad Leroy Brown.
All right, that's all you got, Coach?
Yeah, and a special shout out.
Go ahead, special shout out to who? Oh, the Saints. And ask Red how long can he fast forward with no food but just drinking water?
Okay. I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah, ask him and see what he says. And all right, now with that being said, man, this is the main man H.O. from Bankhead. R.I.P. Moms and Pops. R.I.P. BC, man. For Hancock, Asa, Coach, D-Will, Bob, E-Dub, Bo Bell. Man, we love it, man, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in for another great show. And I gotta give a shout out to my sponsors. Thank you, Bo Bell Basketball, Real Talk Tees, Big Easy Grill, Jay's Juice Cars. Yes, sir. This is SRT, and we're gonna holler at y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.